This episode is brought to you by the world's first reposado from Tequila Herradura, made with slow-cooked, hand-harvested agave sealed into oak barrels and aged 11 months before being enjoyed in your glass. Experience the world's first reposado, Tequila Herradura. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Tequila Herradura. 40% alcohol by volume. Imported by Brown-Forman, Louisville, Kentucky. Herradura is a registered trademark. Copyright 2025 Brown-Forman Corporation.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
Today on What the Hack, we explore the world of online romance, lucrative investments, and the scammers who cheat people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Learn how you can avoid falling into the same trap. Oh man, I can barely move. I ate like a pig all weekend.
Oh, were you getting ready for a little pig butchering, Adam? Somebody feeding you?
Actually, a few people did send me email that definitely felt a lot like pig butchering, but why don't you guys tell us what it's all about?
Sure. Pig butchering is it's a scam. It's a process. It describes a process whereby the scammer pretty much fattens up their victim for slaughter. They do it in a number of ways. Travis, I guess the primary one is romance, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's typically instigated online through social media accounts.
Yeah, it's often on dating apps, but it doesn't have to be there. It could be on Facebook. It could be actually just a straight text where the scammer has figured out what your cell phone number is, and they begin the process there. There are some familiar beats to a pig butchering scam.
Yeah, they get way familiar way too fast. One day you meet them, the next day they either want you to have their child or they want to have yours.
Well, okay. Clearly you've never been pig butchered, but it's not quite that fast. There's a process to it, but it does there's a feeling of being, you've heard it on the show before, charisma bombed, where the person who is communicating with you seems to know the right thing to say at every turn, and it's charming.
Yeah, it's sort of like you're in a Meg Ryan movie where you have this perfect meet cute.
Travis, have you been in many Meg Ryan movies?
Oh, I've always been in the background. Yeah.
What they're looking for is to move in for the kill. They want either your money, your information, or to get you involved in some kind of crazy cryptocurrency investment scheme.
Well, a lot of scams will try to do all of those things and more. What separates pig butchering and what makes it a thing unto itself is that there's usually several hits on these scams, and they're going to give money back to you. Part of the pig butchering scam world involves the illusion that you are doing well, when in fact you are being set up to be destroyed.
And well, in this case, means either in love or in finances or in both.
And today's story is an excellent example. It's perhaps the best example of pig butchery we've ever seen. Welcome to What the Hack, a show about hackers, scammers, and the people they go after. I'm Adam Levin.
I'm Beau Friedlander.
And I'm Travis Taylor.
And today's story comes from Shreya Datta, a victim who lost $450,000 to this scam. Shreya, we really appreciate you being on the show, and we know that you've been through a lot. What happened?
I'd been divorced for 2.5 years. I had taken the time to heal. My divorce was traumatic, and I had been traveling for 2 years. I had just moved back to an apartment in Philadelphia, and I had started to go on dating apps. Like any person in their mid-30s, I felt a lot of pressure to be paired up, have children, start my own family. I've always wanted these things. So even though the romantic in me doesn't believe that dating apps are an amazing way to meet a person, I understood that they're the only way I'm probably going to meet anyone. I matched with this person on Hinge. the app, the dating app. At the time I was traveling and we started talking on this app, and very quickly he moved the conversation to WhatsApp, which I didn't think anything of. A lot of people move very quickly from the app to text or whatever. We made plans to meet as soon as I would come back to Philly, and his location on the app was set as Philly. The story he gave me was he was a French wine trader. He had moved to this country 3 years back, and he had just gotten over this very traumatic breakup he'd had, and he was looking for something long term. The conversations were very smooth and easygoing, like a regular start. We got to know each other through the lens of hobbies and shared interests and things like that. And that morphed into 3 months of some sort of a long distance relationship.
It sounds like this was the start of a typical relationship.
It was very, very refreshing because I thought that I had finally met a high quality, interesting man with a lot of shared interests. This was someone I could fall for because it was nothing like my other experiences on dating apps where, it's very short, transient type of, interactions, not much depth. So this came across like a refreshing change. A polite, well-mannered person who's empathetic, kind, has all the qualities I look for, who is really into me. The amount of compliments and flattery was also amazing. I felt good about myself. We said I love yous, and it was a full-blown relationship within 2 months. It escalated very quickly.
Did you call him your boyfriend?
Kinda, yeah. Like, the mom, dad meet my boyfriend. That didn't happen. But when I would talk to a friend, I'd be like, I met someone really nice. I think he's my person. I didn't use the word boyfriend maybe as much. But in my head, I had found a person I could be with. He was even talking about moving closer to each other. The amount of future visioning. Like, he was talking about all these future things.
But unfortunately, you're not on the show today to tell us about meeting your future partner. Something else happened, didn't it?
I believe that if you're a good person, good things will come your way.
But that's not what happened, is it?
I found out he was a fraud. This was a scam. I felt very hurt and violated. But when I figured out it wasn't even a person, I felt like, what kind of world do we live in? Like, as a trusting, nothing so bad had happened to me. I had a positive outlook about the world. It shook my belief system about everything I knew. Do I know anything? Do I know if black is black and white is white or up is down or anything? Can I even trust my decision-making process? So it turned my world upside down.
Okay, this is really unsettling. We hear about a lot of romance scams on our show, and these fake profiles are all over dating apps.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And in your story, it wasn't just a heartbreak. Something more happened, didn't it?
I got scammed out of a lot of money in between. I felt a lot of intense self-loathing, guilt, and shame the first couple of days when I realized I'd been scammed. Looking back, there were all these red flags, but if you have no context about such a scam even being a thing, I didn't know. I wasn't reading the news about the types of scams out there before I went on a dating app. I just didn't see them, and that's not uncommon. You're looking for something good, you're optimistic, you're romantic, you just don't see it. A lot of people, when you tell them the story that you got scammed, a lot of people will tell you, how could you that can't happen to me. That was stupid of you. But I know better. I know how messed up that was. I've been able to release some of the self-loathing and guilt as I've understood the nature of this scam.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You set the table, put on a playlist, even made the lasagna from scratch. And now you're wearing it. OxyClean Max Force Spray tackles tough, set-in stains the first time. Adulting is hard. Fighting stains shouldn't be. OxyClean Max Force. It's not clean unless it's OxyClean.
Shreya, we've heard how you met your scammer on Hinge. But how did it go from falling in love to falling apart?
He gave me a lot of time and attention. I had never gotten this kind of time and attention from any romantic start, even in my life. When we started texting, he would start texting me in the morning, and then we would text all the time, constantly. He told me he was very shy, but we did a couple of phone conversations, but mostly we texted because he said he preferred it that way. And I am also kind of shy in this romantic set context, so I was okay with texting. So a lot of texts, a lot of interest in what I was doing, what I was thinking. He got my trust that way. When I finished my travels, after 10 days of texting, I came back to Philadelphia. He wanted to set up some time to meet, but it didn't work out that week for whatever reason. I think he was getting ready to travel and I was jet lagged. And then he said he was going to go on a business trip to California. He'd be back in 2 weeks, but we're going to meet each other. We're going to have our first date. Long story short, he kept making good reasons to not meet me and planning elaborate meetings every 1 or 2 weeks. And after his business trip, he was supposed to meet his family. He had an uncle in California who was not doing so well health-wise. And he said he's going to take his uncle to the doctor. And turns out, his uncle got a cancer diagnosis. So now he's going to need to stay longer. So without my intention to get into a long distance relationship, it just kind of morphed into one where he kept giving me one reason or the other to where he was unable to meet. One time he even made me take a week vacation because we were going to go on this trip, and he bailed last minute. So he was constantly selling me on this fantasy of us being he's from Philly, he's going to come back soon. It kept becoming a more and more intense long distance relationship, and he got my trust just by being there all the time. Constant texting, love bombing is what they call it, I guess. So a lot of love bombing, what seemed like genuine interest in what I was thinking, a lot of deep conversations about life, about his experiences.
What qualities about him seemed to draw you in at first?
Oh, the fact that we had a shared immigrant story, that was attractive to me. I'm an immigrant. He seemed very empathetic and he was very polite. Normally on dating apps, everybody's talking to everybody. So in the beginning, it seems like people are ADDing all over the place. Conversations start and then they don't go anywhere. But this guy seemed to be really focused on talking to me. He asked a lot of good questions, seemed like a patient listener. He had some of the same interests I had, very philosophical, deeply romantic, spiritual. I really enjoyed the conversations, and he had a very nice backstory about his origins in France, what made him decide to come to America, why he liked it here. So we really bonded on a lot of immigrant stuff. Yeah.
As you look back, was one of the red flags this sort of doting attention, or was it, or was that just welcome after a divorce?
Looking back, there were lots of red flags. But when I was in it, I didn't notice it as such because I tend to be kind of like a dreamy, optimistic, romantic type of person. So when confronted with that kind of attention, my thoughts were, oh wow, someone's really into me and they know what they want, and we obviously seem to like each other.
Yeah.
Basically, he got me in a space where I ended up sharing a lot about my vulnerabilities, my emotional landscape, things I'd been through. So there's some sort of trust that got built by sharing these deep, trauma stories or stories about our past so that definitely helped me trust him more because, usually I never thought it was a scam because in my mind, scams are short and quick. The amount of investment of time and effort that went into this person winning my trust was quite a lot. And I mistook that for serious romantic intention. Yeah.
How many times during the day would you actually communicate with him?
Oh my God, constantly. So that my day would start with a good morning message. It was very poetic and beautifully written. And then throughout the day when I was working, it would be some of them would be real time when I had breaks in between meetings or whatever, but it was constant from morning till I went to bed. This guy was in my life.
Shreya, how did this lead to a request for money? Did he ask you to help with the cancer treatments for his uncle or what?
No, so this was very sophisticated. So not for a second I thought I was giving this guy any money. So here's how it started. He started talking about like shared hopes and dreams. Like he was serious and just started talking about retirement plans. Very quickly, he led on that he was really well to do. Like he was going to be able to retire in 1 or 2 years. What was my plan? I have a regular tech job. I told him that was not in the realm of possibility for me. At which point he said, dream bigger. I'm here. Now that I'm here, I make a lot of money trading cryptocurrency. I could teach you. And then I was like, I'm not really interested. But then as he kept talking more and more about shared dreams, about how nice it would be to have this freedom and flexibility to retire earlier, travel more together. One of our common hobbies was traveling. I had taken 2 years off to just travel not off, but as a digital nomad to travel the country. So we talked a lot about traveling. So I decided I would learn. So he said, oh, it's completely okay. Start small. It's your own account. It's your money. I'm just going to teach you what kind of trades I make. So he sent me this link to this app. And I thought I downloaded what I thought was SoFi, the publicly listed bank crypto trading platform. But turns out it was the Mirror app.
So just for our listeners, you're saying that this person directed you to an app to invest in on a platform that was itself completely fraudulent, but very, very believable.
Nothing about it was real. It just looked very real to me. It had customer service, all the branding, all the logos, everything that you would think of. And the first couple of times, I put in $1,000, 1,000 became 1,250. I could bring all my money back to my bank. So the money went from my bank to Coinbase to this exchange. The fact that Coinbase let me transfer to this exchange made me feel like, okay, this is okay. It's Sophie's cryptocurrency platform. And the fact that I could transfer back from this exchange to Coinbase to my bank account the first couple of times really helped me feel like this is real and this is my money in my account. And what a nice person. He's just teaching me how to accelerate my retirement plans. That's how the money part of it started. But I never thought I was giving him my money. I thought it was my money in my own account. And this had 2-factor authentication and everything behind it too. So
this sounds like it was a really sophisticated scam overall.
yes.
You could transfer the money that you made to your bank account and you actually saw the money there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that reminds me of 3-Card Monte, the way that they play these tricks on the street where you win, and then they flip a switch and you start losing. What happened in this process? So I'm guessing you didn't keep winning all the time?
No, here's the thing. So the first couple of transactions, I got my money back. And then he started telling me that there's these things called large stable notes, which in crypto world means something like a investment opportunity that's short-lived. And I needed to build a certain amount of capital in this trading account, this crypto trading account, so that I could take advantage of it. So I started putting in more of my savings into this crypto trading account. And he would set up at night, he would set up these times where he would be like, okay, now we trade. He'll tell me exactly what trades to make. So buy this much for five minutes, so he'd tell me what to do and I would do exactly that in the app. And I would see my money multiply. Like I would see okay, I put in 20,000 today. It became, 28,000. So, and what happened was after a while, I did not start putting it back in my bank account. He encouraged me to build the balance up so that I could make bigger trades. I realized it was a scam when after I had built up a lot of capital and made a lot of gains, I lost 450,000.
You said the total amount was $450,000. What was the timeline here? How long did that take?
3 months. I realized it was a scam after 3 months. In this fake bank, my 450,000 was 998,000. So when I tried to withdraw it, it started asking me for a 10% fee. And at that point, I started getting suspicious because it hadn't done that the first couple of times I had withdrawn it. Not that I'm a super savvy investor, but I do know most trading platforms won't freeze your assets. They would net off any fees and let you withdraw the money. And this was asking me to pay at that time 55 grand more to withdraw my money. And at this point, I started getting very suspicious. I contact my brother, who is a lawyer in London, and I start talking about it. And he's like, I had started talking to him about it a week back too, but even he didn't suspect anything in the beginning because I was talking to this guy. I was telling my family how happy I was. I finally met someone nice. And I was telling my brother that, look, I used to even send him screenshots. This is like so much money I have in this trading account. And I'm really learning a lot about how to invest. And my brother was like, oh, just be careful, but looks legit. And when I told him about this 55K, the alarm bells started going off for him too. He asked me to send me a picture of this person. Now, this person didn't just talk to me constantly. He would send me pictures and videos of himself doing this, doing his life. So it even seemed like, not for a second, I doubted that this was not a real person. I have lots and lots of pictures and videos of this person. Little things like I'm eating and I'm taking a walk here and my dog and, just stuff he would tell me about his day a lot of it would come to me in pictures and videos. I sent a picture to my brother. He does a reverse image lookup, and turns out the photo belongs to some guy in Germany with a completely different name and completely different public Instagram account. And at that point, I realized I have been scammed.
Wow, and he used Travis's favorite trick, Shreya, which is the reverse image, which I swear, Shreya, I swore up and down was not a functioning thing. I was like, yeah, you keep saying that, but it doesn't actually work. But it does work.
Not all of the 450K was my savings. Some of it was loans too. When I was seeing the gains with the savings I had, he started talking about how this is wonderful, in 2 years, maybe I can go traveling with him. It'll be so great. And then I need more capital. I'm like, I don't have any more savings to take bank on. Then he kind of convinced me to break my 401k and take loans out. And at the time when I did all this in that fake bank, I already had enough money to cover the loans and the gains I had made in the past. And the script was something like this, like take the loans or just pay it back in 2-3 days. That's how I did it too. And I took some loans out, and now I'm faced with the grim prospect of paying them back in the next couple of years. But
I'm wondering if this is a fallen angel from a legitimate job in financing investments who has gone to the dark side. I mean, what was your sense of this when you started to do the research?
You know what? It's very interesting you say that, because even for my own psychology, I wanted to think of it as a person, but apparently this big butchery scam is more well known for law enforcement organizations and the people in Secret Service that I spoke to, the people in various law enforcement agencies that I reported to. They basically said these are actual professional organizations, probably running out of the Cambodia area or North Africa, wherever, where there is very little law enforcement that can be done from the US. And they not only know how to, they understand human psychology. What happened to me was some sort of psychological hacking. And the script is so powerful because it puts you in this romantic, trusted space where you have all your happy hormones, your endorphins, in flooding your nervous system. And then you're making all these investments together. You're being sold on this shared future. You're falling in love. You fall for the person.
And you're making a ton of money.
So your normal risk-taking, decision-making process stops working. This person isolates you, puts you in a bubble, and then you end up doing things you wouldn't normally do. I'm not a risk taker in my personal life. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket. And I'm not there. So I found looking back, I don't understand how I did what I did. It almost seems like I was kind of in a trance. But this is not just my experience, it's the experience of many other victims as well. It's shocking how good this script is. The script has worked on hundreds and thousands of people. I mean, it works. It's awful, but it works. It's a vicious scam.
So you mentioned the script. What is the script?
When I say script, after I got scammed, I looked up pig butchering crypto romance. If you search for it, there's a lot of documentation about it. So I was not scammed by a person. I was scammed by an organization, and getting someone to trust a person by meeting them on a dating app or on LinkedIn, by, love bombing and, bringing them to this trusted romantic space, talking about your day, the food you ate, making up reasons to not meet, but engaging in a very intense romance, encouraging you, teaching you how to trade on crypto trading platform. this seems to be a part of a script that is not just applied on me one-off, it's been applied on all these other people who also lost money this way. I think the last stats I read was since 2021, the country has lost 3.2 billion to this exact type of scam. There's maybe like 70 to 100,000 people like me who on an average lose 110 to 130K. Some even lose a lot more. I was on the higher end. The term pig butchering comes from the fact that you fatten up the pig before you butcher it. So there is this in the storyline always is a period where they encourage you to put a lot of money in this account at once so that you don't withdraw it because they can tell you some story about how this is a great investment opportunity and you need to raise capital. And so it's a standard script, like, it has varying degrees of penetration for different types of people. I caught it in 3 months. Some people catch it later. Some people catch it sooner. It depends on when you try to withdraw a large amount of money from this platform. Then you get hit with this 10% fee. And at that point, for some people, the alarm bells go off. And like me, they realize they've been in a scam. Some people try to pay that fee. And what I understand is, you never get your money back. These people just disappear on you. In my case, my scammer has no idea that I went public. Clearly, he's not in the country. He's still texting me trying to get this money.
You have to think about it as it's a formula, and the formula works.
Yeah.
And they use the formula it's like their training ground for their own people. And I'm sure that they refine the formula
Absolutely.
as they see more and more people
Oh my
reacting.
God. Inside the script, and this person pretended to loan me 120 grand of money. And I thought, wow, he's like, oh, I know you're having trouble getting capital, but I'm well to do here. I'll help you. And I was so grateful. But later I realized this is also part of the script to gain trust. It wasn't real money. It was just money in this, fake trading platform.
It was a fake casino with fake chips, and you were being given some chips to gamble at the table.
Yeah.
How were you connecting to the app? Was it like a mobile app or a desktop?
It was like an app. It was a mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
Person sent me a link, and then I clicked on the link, and I was using the web interface for a bit. And then he said, yeah, they're testing this app. I'll teach you how to put the app on your phone. And looking back, this was a red flag.
When you figured it out, what did you do? Did you report it to the police?
Immediately, when I figured it out, I had a couple of things to do. My financial situation was looking very dire because these loans needed to be paid back. So I had to make sure that my money was okay. I was talking to bankruptcy lawyers. I thought I might need to file for bankruptcy. Then I immediately tried to report to law enforcement, and that can be very complicated because local PD doesn't view cryptocurrency as something they necessarily deal with. They'll take your report and then they will say, go file a complaint with FBI. FBI's process is this IC3 form. You file this complaint, you may never hear back. I don't know for sure to what extent FBI has made progress on my case. I know that I've been told they are investigating by the local PD, who now says that it is out of his jurisdiction. He has no update. The FBI is investigating this. Then you have to report it to your state's Office of the Attorney General. So I reported it to Pennsylvania Office of the Attorney General. And to be honest, they can do follow-up. If it was a regular crime, they could do something. But with cryptocurrency, they are out of their depths too. So they also told me, like, the FBI is working on your case. We can tell you the FBI is working on your case. Then I reported it to the Secret Service. Then I filled out every other form with the, Commodities and Trade Commission, Homeland Security, whatever avenues are there to report, I reported on it. But it's this kind of crime. The money leaves the country within 48 hours. And once it leaves the country, very difficult to get it back. And other than the FBI, no law enforcement agency can go after crypto tracking. A lot of people who are scammed are further scammed by organizations that tell you that they can get your cryptocurrency money back, but scams are scams in themselves. So it's a slippery slope to recover it. At this point, I have very limited hope that I'll ever get back the money. But I have done everything I could to report it to law enforcement right after I found out, so that, I have my best shot. Yeah.
Well, you've done a staggering amount of work on this, without question. And it's also true, once the FBI and federal agencies get involved, that's the end of the jurisdiction for local law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
So I imagine you must have told some of the places where you borrowed money what happened. Was there any recourse there, or are they just like too sorry for you? Or
This is very sad, but this is why my heart goes out to people, other victims, and I'm experiencing this. This is the law enforcement gap. Law enforcement recognizes this as fraud and theft, but there is no laws that protect the victim from it. So the bank will tell you authorized this transaction. The fact that you were manipulated or coerced doesn't give them the ability to, rule a dispute in your favor. Coinbase, which I really feel like is the organization that I can most blame, they're supposed to have machine learning and AI that detects these fake platforms, but they let me transfer money to this place for 3 months. And right before I found out I was scammed, they sent me a note saying, "Oh, by the way, that was a fraudulent exchange." But I can't really do anything because they put all these disclaimers that they are not responsible for any crypto. I should be very all people who do cryptocurrency trading should only do it with trusted, if they really trust the situation. But I thought I was in a trusting situation too, but I have no protection from Coinbase. And the fake exchange is no longer accessible. They took it down. I don't know, the investigation took it down, or they moved on or whatever. But up until 15 days back, I could show you the app where this fake money was. But now I have no access to it. So I have no protection from it. There is no legal protection. There is no financial protection. There is just it is a very isolating, scary place to be. In fact, I'm one of the more fortunate victims. I have a well-paying corporate job. I'm very lucky. My parents just about gave me enough money to avoid bankruptcy. So now I'm in a situation where after making very severe, life situation changes, I've downgraded my living to pretty much student-like. I have avoided bankruptcy and I can keep doing my job. In a couple of years, I'll dig myself out of this financial hole. But I've heard heartbreaking stories about other victims who've lost everything. They had elderly parents to take care of, bills to pay, kids' college education on the line. A lot of suicides have happened. And a lot of people feel so much shame and guilt, they don't even report this type of crime.
But the thing is that the only way that we're going to be able to get a handle on this is more and more people have to report it. And also there has to be legislation in this country. And as you know, there's an enormous effort for government agencies now to do more regulation of cryptocurrency transactions. And that's even the legitimate cryptocurrency transactions.
Honestly, lawmakers are very behind on this. A person who trains law enforcement contacted me after I went public, and they said that they're focusing on all other types of crimes. The technology that the criminals use is way more advanced than the technology the law enforcement has. Even FBI has to investigate it. Get this, the FBI won't even touch these type of frauds till they're above 300K. The average fraud in this type of scam is like less than 100K. So there's all these people out there who just submitted a form, never heard back from anybody. I'm still a larger value loss. So yeah, maybe the FBI is investigating it. So law enforcement is not prepared and very behind. This is why, how quiet is this crime? 3.2 billion have been lost in 3 years, but 2 to 3 years, but no one's heard about it. Between the victims keeping quiet and not reporting it, lack of awareness in law enforcement and lack of laws, and the shame and the guilt that victims feel, this is the perfect crime. The criminals are nameless, stateless, can't be caught, and the victims have no protection. They really have found a way to take money out of America.
Shreya, you have just done the elevator pitch for the book you're about to write. I wish you great luck in doing that.
I got to monetize my trauma.
Yeah.
Pay off the loans, monetize the trauma.
So now, once everything's said and done, what have you done to protect yourself from scams, and what advice do you have, if any, for others?
In terms of advice for romance scams, it is my belief says we could all be more vigilant, but in today's world with technology, there is a scam for everybody. It just requires someone finding out your weak spot. Somebody else maybe wouldn't have fallen for this exact type of scam, but there's so many different types of scams that, intelligent, smart people can fall for. In terms of romance scams, if you meet someone online and it gets too intense and too serious too soon and you haven't met them in person yet, it's a red flag. Even if they start talking about money, how much money they have, how much money you should be having, it's a red flag, and I think being so trust is an earned concept. A person like me is too trusting. I'm a very trusting person. In my life, I haven't been slapped down for being trusting as much as I've been in this scam. But for me personally, I learned in my own psychology that, I need to be more aware that not everybody has good intentions. Trust is an earned concept. Just because I feel good and I have a good feeling, I shouldn't give my trust to another person. It is an earned concept. So, these 3 things in online dating: don't try to meet a person as soon as possible. Don't even talk about anything like money for a good while. And get suspicious if you feel love bombed too soon. And some of the other red flags I had is this person's English seemed a bit off, but then they told me that they were a recent immigrant and completely French speaking in France, and they had just recently learned English. So I think reverse image lookup. I hate saying this, but maybe some proof of a person's identity would be nice to have. If you meet them, you can be sure that they're real. But if you still feel like compelled to go forward, talking to them online, then, in my case, had the video calls been longer, had I insisted on some sort of ways to identify this, to prove that they're real, maybe I could have avoided the scam. But I'm a trusting person. I didn't do that. So look for proof that this person is real. I wish dating apps would have 2-factor authentication like banks do. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to tell me that I'm going to find someone there. So you have an obligation to make sure that someone is a real person. In my case, this person that I was talking to didn't exist, was made up by an organization with media from other places and a very planned, compelling storyline. So yeah, dating apps, LinkedIn, these are places where most of this kind of scams are happening, and maybe more verification that, is this person real? And how do I know that they're real? Yeah.
Well, you're a survivor. You're a survivor, and that's important to understand. And
Yes.
that you're not alone.
Yeah. Well, just it's so strong, though. I mean, it takes an incredible amount of strength to tell your story. And I am astounded by the strength you've shown in this interview.
Shreya, thank you so much for joining us and telling your story today.
Thank you, Adam. It was my pleasure. I hope this story reaches people before they find themselves in a situation like I found myself in.
Wow, you are a pro. Okay.
I have a public speaking type of job to on top of it.
You're a pro.
Are you ready to dairy-free your mind? This summer, melt away your dairy-free expectations with So Delicious dairy-free frozen desserts. Enjoy mind-blowing flavors like salted caramel cluster, chocolate cookies and cream, cookie dough, and more. For over 35 years, So Delicious has been cranking up the flavor with show-stopping products that are 100% dairy-free, certified vegan by Vegan Action, and are so unbelievably creamy, your taste buds will do a double take. Dairy-free your mind. Visit SoDeliciousDairyFree.com.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Okay, guys, it is time for the tinfoil swan.
Our paranoid takeaway to keep you safe on and offline.
Okay, Mr. Indeed. What is it this week?
We recommended a few episodes back that anyone who's been targeted by an identity theft scam or any other kind of scam should probably seek out some sort of mental health resource in addition to legal resources. But I thought it would be a good idea to offer a caveat about where they should go.
A caveat, eh? Why just say it in plain English, Mr. Travis?
Well, a lot of people use mental health apps instead of seeing a real-life therapist.
And it's not just for therapy. There are mental health apps for meditation, spiritual guidance.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I lump them all together, but fine. Not all made alike, okay? Some of them are pretty sketchy when it comes to privacy. In fact, there's been a lot of reports about it.
So if you combine the two, being mental health and mobile apps, you may end up sharing some deeply personal information with a lot more people and a lot more companies than you really want to.
Really, any sort of app that's supposed to help your health isn't bound by the same protections as seeing a doctor or a medical professional. Even workout apps can collect and share sensitive health information.
Okay, so, I think someone may take away that they just shouldn't use these mental health apps. And I would argue that there's a case for that. I, in fact, had to go do some therapy around a really horrible thing that happened in my life recently. I got a lot of help. But one of the things that the therapist I actually ended up hiring needed to prove was that he wasn't using these mental health apps and that he was going to just invoice me pen and paper. Because I don't want my data out there. I don't want people getting it. So what do you tell people who have those kind of concerns?
I mean, overall, it's something where really anyone seeking out mental health assistance or not doing it at all on the basis of privacy, I would still have to err on the side of seeking out the help.
Yeah, no, I think that that's true. And you are, in this day and age, going to be making a compromise on your privacy. But if it's a life and death situation, then you know what? You're going to either have to save your ass or your face.
But what's really important, like with any app, is you got to do your homework.
Yeah, I mean, privacy policies are usually a mess. No one can really make sense of them. But fortunately, there is a good resource out there for mental health apps that's been put up by the Mozilla Foundation.
Wait, isn't that the place that makes Firefox browsers?
Yep, it's called Privacy Not Included. And what they do is they read through the privacy policies and data collection policies of a bunch of the most popular mental health apps out there. And they let you know which ones are privacy friendly and which ones are a complete no-go. They also tell you why by breaking the privacy policies down into plain English instead of legalese, and they explain the red flags.
Don't they do this for toys too?
Yeah, there's an annual list that they release every year around the holidays of the most privacy-friendly gifts for kids that are internet connected.
It's like a privacy-centric Consumer Reports.
So where should people go?
We'll put the link up to it on adamlevin.com, but people can just go to foundation.mozilla, and that's MOZILLA.org. Or you can just search for Privacy Not Included and it should take you right there.
Sounds like a good resource.
It almost sounds like one of my passwords. Anyway, that's our tinfoil swan.
What the Heck with Adam Levin is a production of Loud Tree Media. You can find us online at adamlevin.com and on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Adam K. Levin.
Behind every empire are the people history tried to forget. Lost Roman Heroes tells the stories of the remarkable characters who shaped Rome from its mythical beginnings to its final fall.
Each episode blends armchair storytelling, sharp historical insight, and a bit of humor to bring these lost figures to life. From generals to scientists, from rebels to empresses, from priests to politicians, these lost Roman heroes have one thing in common.
They stood up for civilization when the bad guys threatened, and in doing so, they changed the course of human history. If you're into history that's vivid, surprising, and deeply human, this show's for you.
Behind every great meal is a person with a story to tell. Hear them on Culinary Characters Unlocked, the podcast that reveals the lives behind the food. Hosted by me, David Page, Emmy Award-winning journalist and creator of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, as I talk with everyone from culinary legends to mom-and-pop standouts about the creativity, grit, and passion that shape the food we love. Follow Culinary Characters Unlocked on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.